Welcome back to the dock on a stormy day today, and as you probably guessed from the title and the thumbnail, we are going over the lights that are available for Olight's flash sale. If you guys are watching this video, the flash sale is live. There will be a link down below in the video description to pick all of these lights up, and it is an affiliate link. Just full disclosure on that. Additionally, there'll be a link down below for mental health resources for anybody who gets mad about a free video on the internet that they clicked on. I know it's a thing, so we'll just go there. So a few new lights, also some weapon lights that I know you guys will like or be interested in, probably a better way to say it, that are on sale this month. And one of them right here is this guy. This is the Olight PL-PRO Valkyrie. So it has both Glock as well as 1913 inserts in there. This one quick clips down, and it is rechargeable there via the magnetic port there on the bottom. Basically, it's 1,500 lumens, it's 20,000 candela, as opposed to this guy, which is also on sale. So this one right now is like $80. This one here is the PL Turbo, 800 lumens, but 66,000 candela. So very different beam patterns, and I know folks will have their preferences. This one also has a low mode if you guys want to extend the battery, or if you're afraid about like splash off of a white wall in your house. It does have the ability to be turned down, but this one here also has the various inserts, Glock and 1913, and you can actually switch it in terms of the position on your actual gun. Sorry about that, we had a really loud, low-flying plane go overhead, but both of these are going to be activated by just pressing and holding for momentary, and then click for constant. Both are the same in that regard, and this one right now is in the, I think it's like $65, and again, $80. So for weapon lights with those kind of outputs, very, very price competitive in this market. So additionally, this one is a new option. So you guys have seen the ARKFLEX before that looks similar to this. This one's called the ARKFLEX. It's 1,000 lumens, it's 2,000 candela, so it's a wall of light type of configuration. We have our two-way clip there, so you could either clip it in a baseball hat or clip it down in your pocket. It does have a lockout mode for those of you guys who are concerned about things coming on in your pocket. And then additionally, the head rotates 90 degrees. So there's a lot of interesting possibilities for that, especially with this magnetic tail cap. This is where you recharge it. Of course, it comes with the USB charger. And the first one that kind of comes to mind is one of my ARKFLEX sits out on my workbench, and essentially I have a rack of tools and it just sits there like that, and I use it to find detents that go flying and things like that. Well, if I had it mounted like that and then I could just turn it down, it could also illuminate my work area. So there's a lot of different possibilities for this. All the controls are done here on the side versus the previous ARKFLEX that had the controls out here. I like that. I think that's probably a little bit better. And then additionally, it has this little cutout here for your fingers, so it's very ergonomic. Basically, you just press it and work through the different modes like every other ARKFLEX type light, but this is not an ARKFLEX, it is an ARKFLEX. And what's cool too is that it's got tension the whole time, right? So it could be anywhere in between there. So it doesn't have to just be 90 degrees. It could be a little bit offset or fully 90. So definitely an interesting light design there. Additionally, another one there is going to be this Olight Seeker 4. Interesting about this is that it doesn't charge via a tail cap like most Olights do. It actually charges via a USB-C right there on the bottom. And of course, we do have a high output from this, as you would expect with the Seeker 4. It's 3,100 candela, and it's 3,100 lumens, 40,000 candela. And then of course you work through it on the various modes here on the side, and just keep going, and you double click to go to turbo, and that is a lot of light. Might not look like it on camera, but I promise you it is. Last thing that is new is going to be this guy right here, the folder from Olight. This is the first knife they've had that I've seen anyway that has a rail lock. So there's our rail lock, so there's no way it's going to go forward without you pulling back on it. It does have G10 grips, as you can imagine. Pretty ergonomic in the hand. It has that little piece right there, so that way if you have to stick something, you don't have to worry about your hand going over it and getting on the blade. And of course also has the clip, as well as the little place if you want to run a lanyard on there, you certainly can do so. We'll roll in the actual material for the blade on that one, but with that, it's time to wait for the sun to go down, check out the beam comparison for these various lights, and then come back and wrap it up. Before we get into the beam comparison, one thing to mention, if you're watching this on a computer, turn the screen brightness all the way up. That'll be as close to what I actually see out here. Here we have the ARKFLEX output in low. That spot there where the wood fence meets the iron fence is approximately 30 meters away rather, and beyond there is the trees that are, the trees that are 40 to 50 meters away. So we'll go ahead and walk through the different modes here. Again, this is low, medium, high. Of course, as you would expect, this type of light is somewhat of a wall of light. As I move the light off camera, you guys can see that it still has a good bit of flood. And then if we double click, that will put us in our turbo mode. So basically sending a wall of light, but if you look at those trees in the back there, they're not super bright. There's not any washing out on the camera like you're gonna see probably with a couple lights coming up. And then at this point, if you triple tap it, you will go into strobe mode, as you can see right there. Now you're looking at the output from the Seeker 4. This one again is on low, and we'll go ahead and work through the different modes. And then that of course is high. You guys can see nice tight hotspot, and then if you double click again, that will get you into your turbo mode. That is a lot of light. And if you look back here at these trees, you can see the difference of what you just saw with a really floody light versus a light that this light still has some flood, as you can see as we move off camera, but it definitely has some candela as well to go with it. And here you have the output from the PL Pro weapon light. That again, hotspot right there in the center, and it still has some flood though. More flood than what you're going to see here with the turbo in just a second. And of course this is in high, and then if we go down to low, might not look that much different, but in person it's a good bit different. And of course the battery runtime is going to be different as well as for the folks that are afraid of getting splashback inside of a house, if you're one of those people. And lastly, the output from the PL Turbo. Get a look at that tight hot spot right there. All the candela all in one spot and not as much flood. Again, this is the PL Turbo and then the PL Pro. You can see just a very different beam pattern. Both of them have a lot of candela though, for sure. You know, the PL Pro is almost 20,000 candela, so it's no slouch. Now we're gonna see where the candela really shines. So I'm about 10 yards on my piece of property here, and then across the lake's about 110 yards, and then about 10 yards back from that is going to be a little fishing shack. And tonight, because it's Christmas time of year, we actually have a photonic barrier, which is a Christmas tree on the dock of the neighbor's dock there. So that's actually going to impact testing, which is good because it's a good real world example of how photonic barriers work. So we'll start out here with the Seeker 4 and just go straight to turbo. And that is a lot of light right there for sure. Like I always say here, when we do these tests, particularly at distance, when I zoom in, this is what I see with my human eye. That's much more close than the backed out view. So basically, if somebody was standing out there at that little fishing shack, I'd be able to tell what was in their hand, even at this distance with my eyes. So that gives you an idea rather, of just how powerful these lights are. Very impressive. And honestly, if you were to show this to someone 5 years ago, it would just seem insane. And here you have the output from the PL Pro. So not the candela monster, but a wall of light kind of gun. Again, you'd still be able to easily identify somebody out there, but what was in their hand, you'd probably have a hard time, at least in my opinion. That said, the big difference that you're gonna see here with the PL Turbo is the rosemary bush here on the right side of your screen on my piece of property is very well illuminated. Like I can see all the details of it here in person. So that is the difference. And then just to contrast it, there is the PL Turbo. So as you can see, that edge right there on my rosemary bush, it's not illuminating everything. It's a hard edge. However, when we actually zoom in there, once again, just like with the longer or the handheld light we were just showing, you'd be able to easily tell if somebody has something in their hand or anything like that with your human eye. But again, the hotspot is very focused. If we put it up there in the tree, you guys can get an idea. Again, the PL Turbo, and then here the PL Pro. It's a much wider type of light. To each their own, whichever one you prefer. I'll leave that up to y'all. And with the beam comparisons out of the way, I have one last question for you guys. Which one would you pick if you had to pick one? The PL Pro, 1500 lumens, 20,000 candela, or the PL Turbo, 800 lumens, 66,000 candela. You guys just saw the output. Let me know which one you prefer down below. If you have either of these lights, let us know down below in the comments as well how they performed and what you think of them overall. And with that, that's all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.